It's my distinct pleasure to be your MC for tonight's event. So welcome to Urbanomics. All that to say, folks, that this is our time. This is one of the most exciting times in Winnipeg's history. There's an increasing degree of optimism that has gripped our community and is fueling a lot of this growth. We're confident, and that is inspiring investment at a personal level and at a business level, and it's very exciting to be part of.
So I'm going to talk to you about a report that we put together, because when we began to look at downtown, it was quite interesting to me. And the report is actually on our website, Institute of Urban Studies. You can get to it by the University of Winnipeg's website. But we began to look at this period, 2005 to 2013, and we realized that it was a very interesting period. We started adding up the projects, and in fact, maybe some of the older folks will remember this idea too. There's a centerfold in our pullout here, a good centerfold, which lists all the different projects that occurred in the downtown. So we began to map it. And we quickly realized that there was well over 100 projects in a short period of time that totaled over $2 billion. And we started to think about that. Well, maybe we should put some context to this. Is this one of the most interesting periods in Winnipeg's history? Can we say that it's one of the most dynamic? And we thought, well, maybe we're in a once in a 100-year type of cycle right now.
We've gone through the population growth that just recently, but interestingly, for the condominiums, the biggest target markets are first-time home buyers and investors in the younger age group, and then, of course, empty nesters who are downsizing, and that is where your biggest growth in Winnipeg is. Then there's the MLS condo sales and average prices in Winnipeg, which is, to me, absolutely astounding, which you just briefly mentioned. But if you look at 2003 and looking at the numbers on the side there where you're at 900 and then you're going up to 250,000 nearly for 2012, there's been an average price increase of 9 to 10% annually. And that makes a huge impact in terms of investing in a new condominium, and I will explain that later.
Now, the rental market, this is quite interesting. I did a lot of research on the rental market, especially in the downtown area. People are paying top dollar to live downtown. It's a vibrant place. It's going to get more vibrant, but people are really enjoying the lifestyle of living downtown. I went around to I've actually met with a couple of rental agencies, and they did some spreadsheets for us and gave us some analysis on the numbers that they figured that we would get. And they were high. The furnished rentals are exceptional.
Forward-thinking development. First thing, forward-looking locations. That's what I'm going to talk about. It's the big thing about tonight. First and foremost, we go to locations that I see in them a future, even though they might not be particularly desirable or noteworthy right now. We see a future in them. Second thing, very important to us, design differentiated product. Our product looks and feels and is different than what's otherwise on the market. Constant innovation, it's like something that we work on. We're constantly looking for the next thing, whether it's new markets. I can tell you that what we're doing in Winnipeg with Glasshouse is something we've done in Toronto a number of years ago. What we're doing in Toronto now is different, but every market has its own state, and in Toronto we're innovating with things that we will be doing in Winnipeg and Ottawa and Halifax and Montreal to a lesser degree in a few years, let's say in 3 years. And finally, affordability, very important to us. We're not about the top 5%. We're about product and urban living for the bulk of people. I often compare what we design and what we offer to an Audi A3. It's not the A8, it's not a Mercedes, it's an A3. And it's got high design, or a Mini. It's got a lot of design aspect to it, but it's actually not priced out of the realm of most people. So, first thing, I think it's fair to say we're an urban pioneer. You're going to have to see some of the buildings I've done next. But we seek out locations where we see potential for positive change. So the question is, why does this apply to Winnipeg? Because, sometimes people say, I've heard, this is Winnipeg, it's not Toronto, and Susan hears it all the time. Well, my question is, why wouldn't this apply to Winnipeg? Like, I have to say, I've heard the same thing. I heard it in Toronto when we started in '96. I heard it in Ottawa. It's like, no, this doesn't make sense, or whatever. This is not New York when we were in Toronto in '96, and then it was, this is not Toronto when we were in, in Ottawa in 2001, and then Montreal was like, well, what, like, screw off. And then, so people always say, well, because this is not where you were before. Well, so what are the reasons people say it's not Winnipeg? Well, okay, no one really lives downtown. Well, okay, I have to tell you something. That was exactly the situation in our King Spadina project in '96, Byward Market in 2001, for sure West Arnlands in 2007, and the Multimedia City in 2006 in Montreal. Those areas were like nothing compared to what we have in downtown Winnipeg today. I mean, they were empty, void, wastelands, a lot of them. So here you have a living, breathing city with amenities, with existing restaurants on the upturn. So I don't buy into that one. And next one is, people don't need to live in condos in Winnipeg. You know, the traffic's not like Toronto. We get that comment as well. Well, it's the same question I got a lot with Smart House. Why do people need to live in 300 square foot condos? I'm like, no one needs to. We're not telling people to. But there are people who want, a big segment of the population wants an urban lifestyle, wants this type of thing. And whether you have to live in it, like it's true that if you live in an inner suburb here or a suburb here, you can get to the office in 20 minutes, maybe. I know it could take, in Toronto it could take an hour and a half, 2 hours. But here, it's not about that. It's about people actually wanting something. And my view is that they have not been offered that in this marketplace yet. Yes, there have been condos available. But they've been relatively small, under the radar. They haven't been high-profile things the way Glasshouse is, a big, tall glass tower downtown. Those things change perceptions, and people who have been looking for that, as can be attested, because we have 80 sales already, which is, a huge, I think, a huge response to what we've been put on the market only a couple or 3 months ago. So, as far as I could see, with respect to Winnipeg, early adopters of our product in this city, I see no reason why it's different than early adopters in our Toronto project in the late '90s, or in Montreal, or in Ottawa, and hopefully in Halifax next week. So, last point. Why Glasshouse, my project? This is the part where I have, I become more of the salesperson. Glasshouse has all of the elements, really, that we've put into our projects over the years. It doesn't have the kitchen from Smart House, because that's not necessary in this market yet. We've distilled everything that's worked for us at this stage of the market in our past projects. We've incorporated in this project. And that leads to a success for us, and we hope for successful for people who've purchased from us, because we do have a lot of experience being first in the markets. It's the right location. My sense is that, first of all, the MTS Center, the Centrepoint development, I'm here because of the Centrepoint development. That will be a major change to that part of the city. 3 amazing restaurants, a super cool alt hotel. I don't know how many people have stayed in the alt hotel, but it is very cool. Office location, plus everything else going on with the shed. I think I'm very comfortable. Basically, that's why we came here, because I thought the location was right. Right design, as I've talked about, design is what we do, and I really do feel that, and you should check it out if you haven't already at our pop-up store. Right unit mix and pricing. People say, it's got to be, it can't be too expensive. Correct me if I'm wrong, Susan, but I think pretty well most of our product is under $300,000. Is that? So we design the mix so that we make sure that it's affordable in the market for the vast majority, for a good number of people, enough to do a 200-unit building, which is large for this market. And, whoops. Right. This project is, I think, my sense is a game changer in the city, as I said before, because of its size and its profile, because it's a glass tower that screams residential in the city with a certain lifestyle. And that's why I think Glasshouse is the right type of product if you want to get in on the ground floor of what I think we've been talking about, which is an upcoming boom in the marketplace. And that's why Glasshouse, I think, makes sense for Winnipeg today. Thank you.